I'm gonna do this one by Wella on my hair today, but hair glosses in general are pretty universal. Well, it's not exactly a one size fits all. You have demi-permanent and you have semi-permanent, which we'll get into later. But for the most part, it's a clear hair color. So they're pretty much the same no matter what brand you're using, as long as, again, you look at if they're demi-permanent or semi-permanent. So this one you can grab at Sally's, and I think you can get it at Ulta. It's about $10 right now. If you're watching this video in the future, it's probably gonna be 15, 20, 30. Does anyone else feel like that's happening? Every time you buy something, it's double the price and it keeps going up and up and up. This one's demi-permanent, so it means you do need a developer for this to work. And it pairs with 10 volume. Now there's some glosses like Exmondo, this does not need a developer. Whatever's in this jar, you can just put on your hair. I don't know what that is, but I love it. And this one's actually a really good gloss, but if you're looking for something that lasts a little bit longer, helps tame grays, blend grays a little bit, I would suggest to use a demi-permanent. Like this one that pairs with a developer, it's gonna last a little bit longer. So basically clear glosses are like the top coat to your nail polish. Let's say we paint our nails pink. We're doing the nail polish, we're done, they're pink, no top coat. The color looks fine, it's gonna last a little bit, it's doable. But if we wanna enhance the color, enhance the shine, increase how long it's gonna stay on our actual nails, we're gonna put a top coat on it. It kind of provides a little sealant on it. That's essentially what clear hair color is doing. It's sealing the hair cuticle. It's putting a thin layer of clear to make it look shiny, mirror-like, soften the cuticle, which will help soften grays. We'll get into that in a minute. And it's going to enhance whatever hair color is underneath. This Wella is a 1:2 ratio. So that means 1 part hair color to 2 parts developer. So if you use an ounce of color, you're gonna use 2 ounces of developer. If you use the whole tube of color, which is 2 ounces, you're going to use 4 ounces of developer. I'm using the bowl to measure, but if you're using Tupperware or don't have a scale, that's totally okay. You can do anything in your kitchen. A teaspoon of color, 2 teaspoons of developer. And while I explain this, I'm going to apply it to one side of my hair or head. This one you can apply on dry hair, but it does work better if you do towel dried hair. So let me rinse this real quick. It's not gonna stain your hands or anything, but glove up if you can. And it should look like this. Typically you apply this root to ends. Starting here, taking super thin subsections and running the color or gloss all the way through. For me personally, when I do this, I leave out my root area. I typically have very oily scalp. This is giving mirror-like effect. Very shiny, beautiful, glossy hair. Not to be confused with oily. However, since I have an oily scalp, oily hair, and by oily, I mean I can shampoo my hair in the morning and it's oily by 9 p.m. I mean, I'm not gonna be up at 9 p.m. I go to bed at 8:30. It's gonna be oily before I go to bed is what I mean. I've tried shampooing it less, hair training, products obviously. It just is what it is. Guess I'm kind of a grease bag. I have oily skin too, which I used to really hate and be embarrassed of. But now I just embrace it because it means my skin is hydrating itself. I'm not gonna look as old when I'm old, if that makes sense. All that to say, typically I stay off the roots, but I'm gonna go ahead and go through the roots so I can show you the full effect. And also, clear glosses help blend grays. Well, let's back up. Clear glosses that are using a developer, so demi-permanent colors. Blending grays is probably not the right terminology because it's a clear color. How could it possibly blend gray? I guess the better term is blurring grays. Gray hair is wiry. It's a totally different texture than the rest of your hair. It pops up out of nowhere. Very thick, very coarse. So once you apply the gloss to your hair and any gray hairs, which I get mainly at my hairline, they just kind of pop up. It's gonna help go inside the hair shaft. The developer's making all the chemical science stuff. It's gonna go inside the hair shaft, help seal and soften the cuticle down so it'll be more manageable. In return, they'll lay down better, they'll be less coarse, less noticeable. So in a sense, it softens the gray. So when light hits it, it contrasts in a different way and it makes it appear less noticeable. It's not changing the actual color of the gray. This is not changing your hair color at all, actually. 1, because it's clear. 2, because it's 10 volume, it's deposit only. So it's not lifting anything. But there have been some times I've used this on clients with fantasy hair color, like Pravana Vivids, not this particular brand, a different brand, and it has lightened the Vivids hair color just a little bit. We should be wearing gloves. So not only is this going to help soften the grays, help them lay down, kind of blend in a little bit better, it also works really well if you have hair extensions. We're on a track right now. I have tape ends right here, and they're not the best quality. They tend to get super frizzy, so this helps put some life back into them, make them look a little bit more natural and not be so ratty. So clear glosses are great for repurposing wigs, hair extensions, anything that needs to be tamed down or smoothed a little bit. Now it's not going to work like a keratin treatment or anything like that. There's going to be mild change. You can also use clear color to dilute colors. If you had a violet hair color and you wanted to make it more of a pastel, you can add clear to it to customize your color. You can also use this as a filler to prep hair. It won't act as a filler like a red filler if you're going dark from blonde to dark. You would use a filler, something with red usually. I don't mean a filler in that way, more like a conditioning type filler. So if you had super porous ends, if you put hair color on them, let's say a darker hair color, it's going to grab onto the porous ends first because there's so many holes. Think of a sponge. It's going to make that hair color appear darker. So if you put the gloss over it, this clear color or a clear color, it's going to kind of fill in those potholes in a sense, allowing you to deposit the darker color where it looks a little bit more even. Now it's not going to do as well as a color filler, something with pigment, but it's better than nothing. However, some downsides, if you have super porous or damaged hair and you apply this, sometimes it can do more harm than good. If hair is damaged, fried beyond belief, frizzy, fraying at you, your split ends have split ends, the answer is to cut that off. There's no product out there, there's no color, there's no service, there's no treatment that can repair that. What you can do is get you a pair of shears. I'll link some below. Under $10 from Amazon. They're not everyday shears. If you're in the salon, you would want to invest in a nice quality pair. But if you're cutting your hair at home once every couple months, these are great. You just want to make sure they're sharp because if you cut hair with dull shears, it's going to fray the hair more. But just cut that off. The biggest gimmick in the hair industry is hair repair. Can you repair hair to a certain degree? Yes. But can you completely restore hair? No. You can rebuild hair by cutting it off and starting over. And you can mask damage. Treatments, K18, Olaplex. You can fill in the damage with silicones products, but you're not completely restoring that. When things are dead, they're dead. So what I'm trying to say is if your hair is super damaged, I would avoid this or dilute this down. Mix up your formula, so 1 part clear, and then do 1 part developer and then another part of water. And that will make it a 5 volume in a sense. It'll be a little bit less harsh to your hair. Processing time for this, and I'm gonna really get in these ends because I've got a few that I just kind of want to seal up. Processing time for this is 20 minutes. You can put it under heat if you want. I'm just gonna wrap mine in a cap and let it be. And then you rinse it out. You do not want to shampoo it out. Demi-permanent hair colors, generally, you just rinse really well. I'm gonna go through all that, blow dry it, and then we'll compare it to this side. Here's the side with the gloss after it's done. And this is the side with no gloss. There's going to be very minimal change because we're not changing colors, but it feels a lot better. And my favorite part is what it does to the top of my head. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but most of my grays are coming in here at my part line and they just do this. Hopefully you can see that, but it smooths them down a little bit. Now, is it perfect? No, there's still some poking out, but it's not as bad as this side. And the ends of my hair look a lot better. I've kind of smoothed those out a bit.